Welcome to the Other Side Pod. I'm Nadine. We're not experts. We're just humans having a human experience we think you can learn from, or relate to, or laugh at, or cry over. So hit download, dive in, and hear how folks found themselves on the other side. We are recording with Brittany. Brittany, holistic nutritionist. What is your favorite snack?
Oh, favorite snack.
Yeah.
I mean, I love a good chip and dip, like a hell of a good and a plain Ruffles. Um,
Delicious.
but probably gravitate towards popcorn
Yeah?
the most. Like a salty, yeah, like it could be a plain butter and salt kind of popcorn,
Yeah.
or like a Colonel's, like flavored cheesy dill or something like that. But yeah, popcorn probably.
Okay, David loves popcorn, and I think because of that, he's ruined it for me because at first I'm like, oh, this person's making popcorn. And now I'm like, this person's making popcorn. I don't know. I'm like, it's like he loves it. And I'm like, I guess so, but I'd way rather have a plain chip with some dip. This is how I know I've gotten older. When I was younger, my mom loved a plain salted chip. And I was like, that's the most boring chip flavor of all time, Lorraine. And now if someone brings chips, I'm like, where's the plain? Where's the salted? Makes me so
It's
mad.
just you know what you're getting. It's
Yeah.
just I get it. I get it. I understand. It's just nice. It's salty. If you're having a glass of wine, goes with it. You don't have to worry about it tasting
Beer
weird.
goes with it. Margarita goes with it. I
Goes
love
with
it.
it.
And
Yeah.
don't come at me with those less salty ones. I'm like, what's in that to make that taste good? No, thank you. Give me the salt.
No.
I'm
Yeah.
like,
I'm here
I'm
for the sodium.
David's like, your sodium levels should be high, and they're not. I'm like, I know. I'm salt deficient. I'm from Newfoundland. We thrived on salt. We had to salt our foods with refrigeration, David. Like I come from a long history
Of salt
DNA
eaters.
that's like really got me to having a lot of salt.
Love
Anyway.
it.
Okay, tell us who you are.
I'm Brittany Gordon. I'm healing ginger. So that I am a holistic nutritionist. My big spiel that I give everyone is that I like to think that I come from a place of realism when I'm working with people. Everything I do is rooted in science. It's not like this worked for me and felt really good sort of thing. It's awesome if that is also true. But I like that there's scientific information and research to back the things that I'm supporting my clients with. I say I'm coming at it from a realistic perspective because I want it to work for the people that I'm working with. So, as much as it would be really nice for me to have like a cookie cutter, this is the program that I put everybody on and it works really well, that's just not how life is for everybody. So, everything I do is made for the individual so that it can actually fit into their life. And it's something that becomes a habit or becomes applicable to the way that they want to live forever, basically. It's kind of my,
Here's where my brain's going right now. We
yeah.
are here to talk about being a mother later in life,
Yeah.
but I have so many questions to ask you about your job. And then I'm like, oh my God, it's my Enneagram 7 coming out. Like my mind is like, dun, 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 this, that. And then I'm like, what's Brittany's Enneagram? Do you know?
No
Oh
idea.
my
I
God.
have I have never done any of those things. I got out of the government before they started doing those type of things on a regular basis.
Oh my
Yeah, no
God.
idea.
Okay. We're going to put a pin in that and we're going to talk about that offline because I'm like, such a cool thing. Okay. I do have one question to ask you about your job, and
Mhm.
then we will chat about
Sure. Motherhood.
mothering and all that beautiful things, all those beautiful things. Okay. Before we started to hit record, I just wanted to make sure I was saying your title right. So I'm like holistic nutritionist, and then there's dietitian, and you were like, it's not dietitian. What's the difference?
Dietitian is a regulated field.
Okay.
They go to school like doctors go to school. They do residencies like doctors do residencies. We are different.
Okay.
Yeah. So my field is unregulated. Their field is always covered by insurance. I think it's often covered by OHIP here in Ontario. but it's normally under the umbrella of like public health.
Yeah.
They work in hospitals and stuff like that. I do not and cannot work in a hospital.
Yeah. Okay.
I like we use different metrics. Like I don't operate off of like the food guide, that type of thing. I also wouldn't do like cancer nutrition support. That would
Yeah.
very much be like a dietitian thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Understood. Did you always know you wanted to be a mom?
No.
Say
Um,
more.
yeah, I think if you like talk to anybody that knew me like you like 5 years ago, they would be like, "Oh, Brittany's a mom now." Yeah, no, it was always like an absolute no, thank you. Like, no, that's not for me. That's not something I am interested in doing. Yeah, it was always a pretty hard pass when my partner and I, when we got together and he was like, we were thinking of moving in together. I was like, there are some things that are not on the table. And if they need to be on the table for you, we need to reevaluate our relationship. And one of those things was having kids. I was like, it's a hard pass for me. So like if it is if it's a deal breaker for you, then we have to reassess this sort of thing. That is how sure I was that I was not interested in becoming a motherhood. I don't believe I just didn't grow up with examples of motherhood that made it look like something that wasn't completely miserable. Like it looked
I
horrible.
love
It
the
looked
honesty.
like yeah, it didn't look like something I wanted for my life. It looked just yeah, it just did
Mm.
not look like something I wanted to be a part of. I wanted to be happy is I think is yeah.
Gosh.
Like that sounds so like doom and gloom.
No, it
But
sounds
yeah,
really beautiful and simple. Like I just wanted to be happy. I think that's really beautiful. And I also just want to take a moment to chat about how hard those conversations are with partners and like potential someone that you're going to spend your life with. Like David and I had those conversations once every 6 months, like not because we like planned it, it just would come up. And I was not so certain I didn't want them, but David was like you. He was like, this is a deal breaker. And I remember calling my best friend when I found this out, because maybe we were together, I don't know, 6 months when it even came up because it just wasn't on my mind. And he was so nonchalant. He was like cooking breakfast, doing something. And I was sitting at the counter at his house. And I don't even know how it came up. And he's like, oh, no, I'm never having kids. And I was like, huh? And then he was just like, I don't know, frying an egg. And he's like, what? Do you want them? Because I mean, I was 34 maybe at the time. I don't know why he thought you're passive, but it seemed
he's
to
like,
shock him that I would. And I was like, I don't know. Like, I don't today, but like, what if I do? And he's like, will be an issue. And so we'd have these gut wrenching conversations every now and then. And I talked about this on the podcast with Lori about when we were talking about miscarriages. So I just want to like ask you a little bit more about that. Was that a gut wrenching conversation for the two of you? Or was he like, cool?
so my partner's name is David also. So
Oh, cute.
yeah,
These are the
Dave,
Daves I know.
yeah. He is such an easygoing guy that like it I don't think we've had hard conversations, but he never makes them feel harder than they are thing. I think I was also just so solid in my resolve that I wasn't having kids that I was like, well, if that's what he needs, I can't give that to him. So there's like no point in wasting his time. Is like I so it didn't feel hard in the moment
Okay.
when we were having the conversation. But he was also like, whatever you need. He's like, you change your mind, cool. We talk about it again. You don't change your mind ever, cool. We build our lives this way. Like he was fine. He was like, I'm here for you, is basically what he had to say about that. So I was like,
Beautiful.
all right, you are welcome to move into my apartment now.
You
Like
may come
you may
past
enter.
threshold.
Right. We had also been dating for like 8 months, I think, at that point. Like we moved in together really quickly. We had known each other for like 5 years. I don't need to
Mm.
justify that. Wewe're married. It's 20 years in now.
20
Um,
years you've been together? gosh.
Yeah,
Okay.
in September. It's crazy.
Wow.
But yeah, so it didn't feel hard. The times that it came up again, it was like, I don't know, I don't think it ever felt hard until we started having conversations about doing it. And then it was
So
like, oh God.
how did that happen? Where was the shift?
I am not even sure. I say that it was him that started being like, "Are you sure you don't want to do this?" And if you talk to Dave, he says it was me that started bringing it up, being like, "Are we sure we don't want to do this?" And so we started going back and forth. And then it was just like, you know what? We don't even know if we can have a kid. Like, we're older at this point.
How old are you at this
Um,
point?
34, 35.
Okay.
So, and at 35, you're considered a geriatric pregnancy.
Ew.
Um, it's really aggressive. So we were just like, we don't even know if we can. And I was like, I'm kind of sick of being on birth control. Like, I'm over it. I had an IUD at the time. It self-rejected itself, so it had to be removed early. And then I was just like, I just am not interested in more of this. I've been on some form of birth control since I was 17. I'm just like, I just want to see what my body can do if I feel different, my mind feels different off of this stuff. And then that's when we started having serious conversations about like, okay, well, what if we do get pregnant? Do we want to get pregnant? What would
Right.
having a kid look like in our lives? What would it look like with my job? Because at that point, I was ooh, like 6 years into building my practice.
It's just called
Um,
Healing Ginger, right? Like
yeah,
that's the name on your Instagram. If people want to find you, I'll put a link in the show notes, but it's Healing Ginger on Instagram. What about on your website? Is it
it's
okay?
healingginger.ca.
Okay. So you
Yeah.
had been like 6 years as a small business owner building up this business. Okay. Yeah, because that's
Yeah.
really going to shift things. Okay.
Right. And at the time, I was working towards being able to not have to work so much. But at that time, I was working like 6 days a week, and my seventh day was like an admin day. So no clients, but working. I was
Wow.
still going out and doing like free promotional kind of talks here and there and corporate talks. I was, right. Like I was building. I was on CTV, I was on CBC radio, I got in the Globe and Mail. Like I was hustling to build a practice or build something that worked, that made a living sort of thing
Mm.
while also still helping people. And it was a weird time to start being like, okay, well, am I blowing that up? Like,
Right.
am I ready to blow that up? And so he was like, we're not blowing that up. That's lunacy. Of course, we're not blowing that up. He's like, you're working towards having more time so that we can balance it properly. So I think that was the thing we were maybe the most delusional about going into parenthood was that like, I work for myself. It's going to be so much easier to
You can
build
work
balance.
less with a baby
Yeah,
and a business.
it's so easy. It's gonna be easy. I'm like, I get to make my schedule. And I mean, there is still a part of that, but like I went back to work at 3 months postpartum,
Oof.
right? Like I didn't, and when I was on leave, you're as an entrepreneur, like you don't get EI, you don't get maternity pay. So I get like the child benefit, whatever every like people get. So that was my maternity pay.
Okay.
It was like $200 a month
My
sort of thing.
God.
So I went back part-time 3 months postpartum. I'm still technically part-time. I'm home with my daughter all day long, and then I work. It's working, like we're making it work, but it is not this like easy breezy thing that we were like, easy breezy. Just it's just a baby. How hard could a
How could
baby
that
be?
be? Okay, your daughter is now 2,
Two, yeah.
and how old are you?
I am 42. Yeah.
42. So you had her at 40. Oh,
I
so
had her at 39, so she was
okay,
3 months old, and then I turned
then
40.
you turned
Yeah.
40. So you started having this conversation, like this kind of shift in like maybe we would do this around mid 30s. and
Mhm.
then you're considered geriatric at 35, a geriatric pregnancy at 35. So right away, were you like, let's try for this? Like when you got your IUD removed, or like how did that
No,
go?
we
Was it
were
something?
like, let's just like pull the goalie.
Yeah,
Let's
see what
just like
happens.
see what happens.
Mm.
And nothing really happened. Right? Like it was just like, okay. So I was like, maybe I can't even get pregnant. But then we were like, okay, like pandemic had like ended. We were starting to get more serious about it. We like sold our old house, bought a new house with more space in an area with a yard because we were like right in like center town. Like we were right downtown before. We had some space, but it would have been crazy to have her there. But so we were like getting more serious about it. The pandemic was starting to get endemic, right? It was like moving that way. And then we were like, okay, let's actually start trying. So like tracking cycles, tracking ovulation, peeing on things, like doing all of that stuff. So I would have been around like 37, 38.
Because you really
Um,
jumped in from like, this is not on the table to tracking cycles, and like your mind really did shift. That's beautiful. My mom wishes you were her daughter. She was always like, it'll shift. I'm like, I don't think so. But anyway, it's just beautiful to hear a different story where it actually really did shift to where you were like, hey, wait a minute, nothing is happening. Let's like be more serious about this. Let's really look into it.
So the shift wasn't because nothing was happening. I was
Okay.
just like, okay, like if we're going to do this, like 40 is getting closer and I don't want to be like the oldest person in the room at graduation. Like, so it like that was what it was. We were just like, okay, whatever. But then we were like, okay, like if this is something that we actually want and we're getting to a place that like our brains are getting set on it, then we actually have to give it a go
Yeah.
sort of thing. Just because it felt like there was like a finish line sort
Because
of
there
thing. Like there
is
is,
really for
yeah.
women, especially. Yeah.
Men too. I just a lot of it's like a lot of it's put on the woman, but like the quality of sperm starts degrading
Right.
after
Of
age
course.
too, right?
Right.
And
Right. Right.
there's higher likelihood of miscarriage because of sperm quality. There's higher likelihood of like really gnarly, gross things that happen to the woman while pregnant because of sperm quality. Like there's a bunch of other factors that also happen. Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense. It's just not talked about because why,
It's
I
also
wonder?
only just starting to be studied,
The
right?
patriarchy?
Yeah, I wasn't going to say it, but
I always do. David's like, you don't want that for dinner? Why? I'm like, the patriarchy. He's like, you can't blame it. I'm like,
you're
yes,
like,
I can.
Ken,
Watch
actually,
me.
yeah, I
Watch
can.
me. Okay, so before you have a baby, your identity
Mhm.
is
Ugh.
what?
Business owner. I think that was a part of it. I was like a personal trainer, a yoga instructor, a nutritionist. I was like always working. I was a great friend. I was a good sibling. Like that's who I was. But I think like once having a child, I realized that like I was a nutritionist. That was like business owner nutritionist. That was my identity.
Right.
And that gets rocked.
Like, why? Wait a minute. Why is that the one part of you that really stuck out? Like, that's who I actually am after you had your daughter.
That's who I was. I don't
Okay.
know if I would say that's who I am anymore. I think it was the thing that like got separated from me the most intensely post
Well,
baby.
your career.
Yeah.
Oh, say more. How?
I'm like, my eyes are gonna water, but I'm not gonna cry, I promise. No, I'm
Oh,
joking.
cry. I mean, I've cried
You're
on
like, do
this.
it.
Do it. I mean, don't if
Um,
you don't want to, but if this is a safe space, we could just cry for the
uh,
next 10 minutes together and,
just
and
together.
breathe. It'd be beautiful.
That's just a part of the clip. That's the clip.
That is the clip. Just you and I just staring at
Just
each other.
crying. I think it's because I worked so hard to build it, to create it, to like create a safe place for people to come and get nutrition advice. So much of what I do is working with people that worked with others in like the health and wellness or the dietetics world and had horrible dismissive experiences. So I worked really hard to create a space where they would be listened to and believed, and they would be helped to like grow thing and develop a space for them where they felt like they could experiment and fail and try again, and right, without the judgment and the shame and all of that stuff that is so often associated with food and nutrition and diet and body image.
Such a
So
vulnerable place for you to what, like, what's it called when you, like, put your flag in? Like, when you, like, climb a mountain and you're like, "Boom, I've climbed this mountain." What's that?
claimed it.
I guess. I mean, of course, the patriarchy, they would claim a mountain. Anyway, okay, I'll lay off men. Okay, but, like, to stake your claim, like, "This is what I do." It's such a vulnerable space.
Mhm.
Food, body image, diet, yeah. Mhm.
Right? And it was a decade of work. It was a decade of working in awful clinics and having weird gym relationships because I set up shops in different like studios and gyms and worked with various clinics and did talks for them and like all of this stuff before able I was able to find healing ginger and what that looked like and what I wanted to be able to offer people. So it was so much of my time and energy. And I mean, it was like 70, 80-hour work weeks. I think anybody that has built a business or anything knows what is dumped into it. And it just went from something that felt really successful and felt like I was helping people and felt like I was building community to not being able to show up in that capacity.
Because you have a
'Cause I
baby.
was so tired. Yeah,
Mm.
and I had something else, like somebody else that I had to show up for in that capacity, right? And it starts becoming this thing where you have to start making the decision as to where you wanna put that energy.
Do you think it would have been different if you had her mid-20s? Like, let's say you start creating this business when you're, like, when you finish all of your studies to become a holistic nutritionist. Let's just pretend it's 22, just for the sake of the pod. And then 25, you're like, "Maybe I'll have a baby." Do you think it would have been different?
Yeah, I was just thinking that in my head. I'm like, I think if I had been in my like early 20s or even early 30s and having come to this like I'm going to have a baby now sort of thing, I think it would have been very different. I think in my early 20s, I don't know if I would have made the same decisions that I have made now. I don't know if I would have been like, okay, like healing Ginger has to take a back seat. Like she's going to be this tiny one time. She's going to need me at this capacity one time, right? My business is always going to need me at that capacity forever and always, right?
Right.
Like I am the nutritionist, right? So all of those responsibilities are always going to fall on my shoulders. Her stuff is shifting all the time, right? Like her needs are shifting and growing and changing and it's different. So I don't know if my 20-year-old self would have made the same decision to take as big of a step back as I have.
Got you. And
Mm.
was that quite jarring for you to take such a big step back from a business you spent a decade plus building?
Yes, and it continues to be that
Yeah.
jarring to
Really?
yeah, I don't think I've gotten it's like 2 years in and I don't think I've gotten used to the amount that I am able to show up. Is like I was like going through and thinking of this and I'm like I think it was one of the biggest moments that like unearthed again imposter syndrome like nothing other that like
Um,
nothing I've ever experienced. Yeah.
when you first started the business, did you have imposter syndrome?
Yeah.
Right.
I like I it's one of those things like you come out of school and everybody in the program knows all of the things, right? Like everybody eats well, everybody knows how to balance this and that and macros and we know, oh, if that's happening digestively, do this thing and right? Like you know all this and you're surrounded by everybody that knows it. So you come out being like I have nothing to share. I have nothing
Oh,
to share with anybody
right.
until you start working with regular human people and you're like, oh, I have so much to share. I have so much to share with so many people.
Yeah.
But it also is just like, oh, do I actually? do I actually know all of these things? And then like when I started going on like media, started being like, oh, someone's gonna figure it out.
Someone's gonna
Someone,
see me, and I'm
yeah,
gonna say something, and then I'm done. Like, yeah.
they're gonna be like, what a phony. I remember I had a client who was a family physician, and I was like, it was every week, once a week, it was like pure panic came over me. And she was just like, I'm sorry, what? Does it really have that vitamin in it? I was like, oh, doctors really don't know. But it was just like, I'm like, if there was ever a client to figure out that I'm a fake, it's this lady. But like, I'm not a fake, right? Like, I know my things. And it took a really long time of working and building and trusting myself and seeing my clients thrive for me to get to a place where like I believed in my own capabilities, sort of thing. And then I had a kid, and your brain changes, right? So
So
it's
postpartum, you go back into this imposter syndrome in a different way.
yeah. Yeah, I just like I feel like I'm not showing up in the capacity that I had been capable of showing up in for my clients previously, right?
Mm.
And it's just like I always joke, I'm like, I have to show up and sound like I know what I'm talking about. I'm
Mm.
like, and I don't know if mentally I'm able to sound like I know what I'm talking about anymore.
Why?
Um,
Because you're tired? Like what? I've
you're
never had a
tired.
baby, so tell me.
It's the switch off, right? Like so from like 5:30 in the morning until like 2:30 in the afternoon, I'm on call as a mom. I could tell you like every last like Cheerio or like piece of fragment of fruit she has eaten throughout her nutrition, I could tell you about. Got it. But then it's the like, okay, I have 20 minutes to switch in to Brittany, the nutritionist, and not the mom anymore. And that switch over just doesn't feel as easy as it used to. Like going from like Brittany, the person doing her groceries and wandering around and whatever, to the nutritionist was an easy switch over before because it felt like one of the same almost. Like I'm doing my meal prep, I'm taking pictures of my meal prep so I can share it and I can explain this. I'm doing grocery shopping, I'm taking pictures of my grocery shopping so I can share it and I'm explaining. But now meal prep is me meal prepping while keeping a tiny hand away from my knife so that I don't cut it off. Or grocery shopping is me getting certain things and saying, no, we don't need more Cheerios. We have Cheerios at home. Right. Like, so it's not like it isn't as fluidly mixed anymore.
Right. Because it before it was so easy to be a nutritionist in all those areas of your life. This is starting to like come full circle to when I said, who were you before you had your daughter? And you were like easily named all the things of who you were. But a nutritionist was interwoven into all of them.
Yeah.
Okay. And now you have to be mom in one
Mhm.
lane and nutritionist in another. And you have to like demarc. Is that how I say it? Demarcate or what's that word?
I think that's it.
Yeah, like you have to be like, okay, this is happening from 5:30 to 2, I'm mom, and
Yeah.
from 2:30.
Categorizing. Yeah. Yeah.
Of course. Okay, in that 20 minutes.
I have to again
How,
become nutritionist Brittany,
how
who
do you do that?
I am not sure.
Mm.
I think I'm pulling it off. I mean, like I love being a nutritionist, so it's not like I have to like convince myself to do this. It's just it feels so different. I remember having a conversation with my dentist of all the people about how I was going back and it was like she's like, "Aren't you only 3 months postpartum?" And I was like, "Yeah, but like I work for myself." And she's like, "Girl, I hear you," because dentists are very much I think dentists and doctors are in the same kind of realm of stuff in the mat leave world of things. But she kept saying that she was excited when she finally got to go back to work because it was like, finally, I know what I'm doing. She's like, because all day long you were with this kid being like, was that right? Oh, did I mess you up?
Right.
The whole
Oh,
time.
right. You're not just questioning Brittany as a nutritionist and a mom, like in this like
It's
post
everything.
part. yeah, you're questioning yourself all fucking day and night long.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God, women.
Right. And so I was like, okay, so when I get to go to work, I'm going to be a nutritionist and I know myself as a nutritionist. I can trust myself as a nutritionist. I'm knowledgeable. I'm knowledgeable. But then I got to it and I'm like, am I still knowledgeable? So it's not like, yeah, it just like it feels like there's a gap that's happened and it's challenging to remind yourself that you are still knowledgeable. Stop it. Like you're still reading the papers, you're still doing the things. You're still a nutritionist. You're just also a mom now too, right?
In a perfect world, would you have taken a longer mat leave?
Oh my God, yes.
Or how
Yeah.
long do you think?
I would have taken the 12 to 18 months that everybody that works a regular 9 to 5 job gets the opportunity to top up to.
Do you ever wish that you were, I don't know, in a regular 9 to 5 job where you could have done that?
Sometimes I'm like, oh, I should have never left the government because I did work for the government for like a solid decade. But it was so soul sucking, so soul sucking.
It
Like I
wasn't for
could
you.
not do it. Yeah, I couldn't do it.
Because I
Yeah,
get it. Like again, I'm not a mom, but like I do sometimes I'm like, why did I have to want to do this stuff? Like, why couldn't I just have like sometimes I'm like, David, and I've definitely cried and said, why couldn't I have just wanted to be an accountant? Because
yeah,
I don't know why
yeah.
accountant or just something to me, accountant seems so like I've graduated, here's my letters, boom, that's my job. And like, look, I'm not saying being an accountant is easy, and I actually love the man that's my accountant. But anyway, and he works really hard. But all that to say, to
But
me,
it's the thing that you know what you're doing.
yeah, it's not something I have to constantly like try to figure out. Like I just show up and I like account. That's what you
Exactly.
do, right?
That's the job.
I, I just account. But yeah, so I can get I get those moments. But then I know that, there's just it's just not in the my DNA. It just never was. I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur. Yeah, my brain just sparks like this, and I like lean into it because there's really no other choice. But I just wanted to make space for those moments where it's like, why didn't I just want to do this? Because they're
I
real
mean,
moments.
sometimes I'm like, can I just suck it up and do it
Yeah.
again? Can I just
Yeah.
go back and suck it up and do it again? So the thing is, though, like, as weird as it is up here, it does afford me, like, I do get to be at home with my daughter for the
Like
day,
we're
right?
still not choosing to do the other thing. Like that's what's really interesting about it. And
Yeah.
probably someone who's doing that might be like, God, I wish I could wanna open up a, I don't know, whatever, coffee shop. And maybe they never will either because it's actually not what you really want. Like the grass is
Yeah.
always greener type deal. But
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So what's your daughter's name?
Lillian.
Lillian. How is she?
She is wonderful. She is a spunky, smart little bean. Like I fear the day she's in her 20s. She's she's gonna outdo me in all and every aspect of life, and I can't wait to see that. Yeah.
This is a big question. Can you explain what it feels like to be a mother to someone who's not a mother? If you were to I mean, talking to me, but even if you were to talk to yourself 5 years ago, how do you sum it up? What's the experience?
You're tired. No, I'm joking. I don't know. I don't know how you would explain that to someone else. I don't think I'd be like, oh my God, it's a joy that yeah, like the traditional what everybody like you're missing out on something. It's so glorious. It's so wonderful. It's so beautiful. But no, I there are glorious, wonderful, beautiful parts of it, but I don't think that's how I would explain it to somebody. It is different than anything you've ever experienced. There's an aspect of it that is very rewarding, I guess, could be the word. But mostly it's wonderful to see her become a person, right? Like she's only 2, so there's more to come. But she went from like a little potato blob to a sassy little, has very firm opinions about who she wants around her, what type of clothing she wants to wear, what activity she wants to perform, right? And it's wonderful getting to watch her become her.
That's beautiful.
Yep.
Um, Mothering in your 40s
Mm.
versus 30s, 20s. What, like, is there a comparison?
Not for me. I can't compare it to anything. But I am often the oldest mom when I go to play groups and stuff like that. Everyone's always so generous and they always think I'm mid-30s, so I'll take it. I There's often things like that moms will bring up that they're going through in like their relationship or they're struggling with in society or they're doing I'm past that. Right? So I think that is the glorious part of having been so much older or older than somebody that is 28 or turning 30. And this is like I have friends that have older kids that were older when they had their kids, and we had the same conversation. Like, I wasn't at a place where I would have been like, oh, I'm sad that I can't go out to the bar with my friends. We're not going to bars. Like, we're not like that type of thing. Like, and if we are, like, it's like a drink. Like, I'm not partying and dancing and doing all of those things like I used to do. I also wasn't in a place where I was missing it to begin with, sort of thing. Whereas if I was in my late 20s or early 30s, I think I would have been bummed that I couldn't be going out for like beverages or for meals or whatever right after work. I think I would have been sad that I had to plan and program around somebody else, sort of thing. But also like relationship wise and like who I am wise and friend wise, like all of that is so different the older you get. And I think to I don't know. I'm like maybe I would have remained friends with some people that they are so far away from my life now. That would that have been good for me? Would that have not been good for me? Also, you think of like the weird fights and arguments and conflicts you have with your partner in your late 20s, early 30s, mid 30s even. Those are resolved things for me, and I'm not having those moments with the addition of another human being, which is another stressor, right? Because it's an unknown.
Right.
So I think like that's the blessing of being older, is that like you're firmer in who you are. You're firmer in a lot of your friendships. You're firmer maybe in your relationship with your partner. A lot of the like disagreements and weird stuff has been resolved. Like you've come out on the other side. Not to say that other stuff isn't going to come up. But I do see it in some of the younger moms being like, oh man, I remember that fight. Like I remember having
Yeah.
that fight with my partner, and I'm so happy I'm not doing it sleep deprived.
Yes. Oh, what a good point. I think back on fights that I would have with David when we were first together in my early 30s. And it was obviously just work I needed to do on myself, right? To be triggered by something that had actually nothing to do with David or me, probably, or the moment. It was like triggering something else. And it is nice to be past that. And I never actually thought of that until this very moment. God, therapy.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Helpful
Right.
tool. Helpful tool.
Yeah. And the way you argue now is different, or the way I argue is different. And it sounds like the same for you. That is fascinating. Oh gosh, you're just like, this is a whole other podcast. That's so lovely to think about. Yeah. And you're right to do that sleep deprived.
I
Brutal.
cannot imagine it. It is not like things don't come up. Things are going to come up
Yeah, of
regardless of
course. Of
how old you
course.
are when you have a
Hmm.
kid, right? And you're going to like argue about the division of labor and that like I'm always the one getting up, and it's like, right? Like everything feels so big when you are that exhausted. But it's different, like you said, like we fight differently now. So it's like it's a heated conversation as opposed to like I can't look at you right now. Like it's not as explosive sort of thing.
One
Like it
time I
doesn't.
literally charged out the door. I was like, I don't think I said I was done, but I left. And then I got to the driveway and I was like, how dare he? So I marched back in. I was like, you didn't chase me? And he was sitting on the couch and he looks over and he was like, no. I'm like, how dare you? That's just charging up. He was like, what is that? Whereas now I'm like, I'm gonna walk the dog and figure out why I'm actually not mad at you. And he's like, have a good walk, hun.
I'm gonna cool it down, which is
Yeah.
also so nice because I'm like having like being able to be an example of how to fight with somebody,
Yeah, for your kid.
I think is a gift. It is something that like very early on in my relationship with my husband, we had to I had to figure out. He was like, "What do you No, we're just having a disagreement. What do you mean?" I was like, "So this is over. You're leaving, obviously."
I'm
And he was
gone.
like, "What are you talking about? Like, I just thought it was not enough pasta sauce." And I was like,
You're
"I
leaving.
don't know." So we're broken up.
Yeah.
We're broken up. But just like also like the language we use, like those were all things that I had to learn how to navigate as an adult because it was not an example. It was a different example for me. But then also like making up, right? Like I think for a lot of us, we like got to see our parents fight, but we didn't get to see them come back together at the end. And that's something that I'm like, I think is an important part of like people fight and then you apologize, you work it back out, and you figure out how to work together at the end. That's how
Right.
relationships work with everybody, not just with
Yeah.
your partner. So I, if I was in my 20s, I had this kid, she would be having a very different experience also.
What about financially? Is there a part of you that felt like, oh, we kind of got our shit together? And like, no judgment if not, because listen, I'm always working out my finances and I'm 48. But like, there is a certain point where we hit and we're like, oh, okay, this thing's way more grounded, or I'm way more grounded. I've got a house, all those things when we're older. Was that a factor at all?
It might have been. I don't think it was at the forefront of my thought process. But now that I'm not full-time working and I'm able to be like, she's not in daycare. I'm with her all day long. And then I work in the evenings, right? That's not something I don't think we would have been able to do as younger parents. So I think the fact that I did have a decade behind me in setting up my business and I wasn't just starting out at setting up my business. Because if I was just starting out at setting up my business, taking like as big of a step back as I have now wouldn't have been a possibility if I was actually interested in building something, right? I would have had to go back to the government or I would have had to go back to a 9 to 5 or something like that to be able to help provide for somebody else's life. Yeah,
What if
so I do think that it helps now. I don't know if it was a factor for me. It might have, my husband's a lot more pragmatic than I am, so it's very likely something he thought about more so than me, but
um did a lot of your friends have kids before you?
so this is like it's a funny thing. Like when you like partner up with someone like friend groups amalgamate sort of thing. So his friend group, they I think every last one of them had kids before 30 or like in that range, that very early range. My friends that I brought into it, like I think four of them have kids. So it was like everyone he knew, child. Then we have like a couple friends that we share together. They have kids, so that's two of them. And then I have two girlfriends that have kids, and everybody else that I've always associated with is child free to this day. So no, right? Like no for me, yes for him. So I think he saw it happening a lot more than me, and I was just like, "Oh, this is exhausting." These
Folks,
kids all this
tiring.
time looks exhausting, guys.
But
Um,
did anybody have kids around the same time as you, or had they had them
no,
earlier?
yeah. So everybody's kids, like I think that the youngest is like six or
Right.
seven.
And so how does it feel to be a new mom around people that are well into it?
I think that is one thing a lot of people, I don't know. I don't think I was prepared for how big of a divide it is. I am so thankful. I have one of my best friends has an 11-year-old, and thank God, because I can be like, what is this? What
Mhm.
is this? And she's like, to the best of my knowledge, like the best of my recollection, this is what you kind of want to do, right? So I'm very happy that I have friends that have older kids and can be like, at the end of the day, none of that matters. Like, it doesn't matter. You're going to be fine. Give her the whatever sort of thing. But I had to work to find people that were in the same place in their parenting life journey, whatever you want to call it, as me. Whereas like his friend group had like built in, like they were all having babies within like the same year of each other,
They had this
sort
community of
of.
people who got what was happening in the moment that it was happening.
Yeah, right? Like they had kids when you were traditionally supposed to have kids, whereas I
Mm,
was like, I'm nowhere near there. Like from a mental health perspective, financial perspective, what I want to do with my life perspective, like I don't even know if I want them, sort of thing. So yeah, it has been interesting. I've met a lot of cool people, but then it's also like I didn't go back to work at the 18-month mark. I had been working since 3 months, right?
right.
But I was going to the playgroups and the museums and the farm and the like whatever, doing all of the things that they were all doing on mat leave and then working in the evening. But then they went back to work. So that community of people that I had met and worked to know for a year and a half, poof, right?
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, some of them I've still kept in contact with. I was also lucky enough to meet this one woman who was like, I'm not going back until like we're kind of done. Like, so she's still like, she's pregnant right now. She's about to have another kid in like 2 weeks, I think she's due. But so it's an interesting kind of dynamic to be like, well, am I also looking for new friends or am I looking for friends for my kid? Am I looking for someone that I can bounce ideas off of? So it's weird.
Yeah, I guess it could feel isolating, right? Because it's really important to have those friends. Like I have friends that have older kids, I have friends that have younger kids, but I always know there's not a divide, but a divide. Like I don't swim in that pool. But equally, I love going over and dipping my toes in and playing with their kids. And then they love coming to visit me because a lot of them are in Newfoundland. And then they're childless and we go have fun in Prince Edward County and drink some wine. But there is a difference. Like there's things I can't relate to, but then they have each other to relate to it. So I imagine if all of a sudden I had a 2-year-old and all their kids are 6 plus, and it's an entrepreneur as well. So I'd also be working probably pretty quickly. It would be so beneficial, I think, for me to have somebody that's doing a similar thing. Like I'd be like, Brittany,
Yeah.
like,
I was always like, I don't think I need it. Like, I got friends. I don't want new friends. I'm 40. Like, I'm
yeah, I
tired.
get it. But having
Like,
someone that gets what you're going through
mhm.
is so paramount. Like it's so important.
Well, gets it, but is also actively going through it. That and
Yes.
my girlfriend who has an 11-year-old was like, "You need to go and find this." And I was like, "I
Mhm.
don't know if I do." And she's like, "Go and find this." She's like, "You need to have someone that is at the same stage." She's like, "I'm always here, right?" Like, and she will always be there. But she's like, but he's 11. Like he goes to the bathroom by himself. When he throws up, he makes it to the bathroom by himself, right? Like he can put the dishes away on his own. He walks himself to school. Like there's such a big divide. She was just like, we're both parenting, but you're in the trenches. I'm not in the trenches anymore. And I was
Yeah.
like, I never knew what that meant until you start doing it. And you're
You
like,
just want to
oh, these
look
are
over
trenches.
in the like dark night of the soul and see someone who's like in it with you, even just to be seen and like you
Yeah,
don't even
to
need to
be like,
say
that
anything.
was crazy, right?
Uh,
They're like, yeah, that was crazy. That was. I see it. I experienced it. It was nuts. It's also like how quickly you forget what it was like or that feeling or what you did or how tired you were or whatever, how quickly you forget. Like, and that's one of the things that I'm just like, I think that's why she was like, you need to find someone that's in the same stage as you. Like, she was like, I can, but like, honestly, I don't remember And if someone were to be like, what was it like with a newborn now? She's 2. She's literally like 2 and 2 months sort of thing, like 26 months. I could tell you it was hard, but I don't remember the amount of wake ups. I know there were a lot sort of thing. So that's why you need someone that is in the same stages as you.
And so do you have someone now?
Yeah, I have like a couple people that I would like call or bounce ideas off of. I had like met some like pretty great supports like while they were on mat leave and stuff like that. It was really good to be like, "Oh, this is crazy. Is this happening to you? Like, what's the sleep like? How are you doing this?" One of the people that I met that was just, it was so funny. I'm like, we only ever saw each other at the park, but we saw each other at the park every single day. And they've moved away, and it was like, it was gut wrenching, like just heartbreaking for both of us. I remember us just like hugging and crying, and her husband being like, "Oh God, here it goes again," sort of thing. And he was like, "You guys never even really saw each other ever. It's not like you called or texted or whatever." And I was like, we saw each other every single day for like almost a year for hours a day. I'm like, that's more than I hung out with my husband because he was at work, sort of thing. And it was nice to just be able to be like, "So, how are you doing?" "Oh, yeah, no, I sat on the toilet and cried today." Being like, relatable, relatable, right? Like, so, and like those are, it's not relatable to a lot of people being like, "Why are you sitting on the toilet and crying?" Being like, "Oh, because I haven't had a full night's sleep in 25 months." Like, it makes you want to cry.
One of the most beautiful and like it sums up how tough this is, stories about motherhood, is a friend of mine. When she was a new mom, this was many years ago, she was on a street where there was a new mom that she didn't know very well, but she lived like diagonal across the street. Anyway, she'd be up in the middle of the night and being like, "I'm gonna go crazy. Like, what is happening?" And she said she'd look out of her window and see the light on in the other house, in the, I don't know, nursery or the main bedroom, either or maybe the bathroom because they were sitting on the toilet crying. But she was like, I would just be like, I'm not alone. Like I didn't have to call her. I didn't necessarily see her the next day and talk about it, but I'd always look for her light and I knew I wasn't alone. And I was like, oh God, right. What an isolating experience it can be, even with your partner in the house, because,
It's
your hormones, like
so
what you go through,
different.
your physical changes in your body, like you are feeding this person, maybe like if you're not breastfeeding, bottle feeding, whatever, but like, uh,
Yeah, that's one of the things that I'm like, I don't think anybody understands how lonely or isolating motherhood is. Thing like, so having that like person that's at the same stage as you to be like, "How are you?" And knowing that like there is no judgment there because they are like same,
yeah.
same sort of thing is really important. And I'm like, I have a really good support system. Like my husband is incredible. My big sister is amazing. And like my best friend is over every single weekend. She's like, this is my new best friend. So like they are incredible people and I definitely would not be able to do it without them. But it's different to have someone to be like, "So what was that birth experience like for you?" thing. Also, just like an aside, I've yet to talk to a mom that didn't say something that wasn't completely traumatizing. It's not beautiful. Like, everyone's like, "It's such a beautiful experience." I'm like, no, it's not."
I never wanted to hear those stories. I remember in our 20s when friends of my boyfriend at the time were having kids, and sometimes like I found more so the women than the men, I think, would gather and someone would be pregnant, they'd be asking about it, and I'd be like, I'm over here. I just never wanted to know. I'm like, that's terrifying. If I know, the more I know, the less likely chance I am to do it. And are you all happy now?
You're like,
Uh,
"Worked. It scared
yeah,
me.
worked.
Scared me."
But yeah, it was always, oh my gosh. Parenting in your 40s, mothering in your 40s, is there, like, what's the easiest part of it?
Being 40, like
Yeah?
being older. Yeah, like I mean, I think it would have been easier to be able to be tired in my 20s. I think it
Yeah.
would have been easier to have energy and no body aches and stuff like that in my 20s. But I think I'm so much more appreciative of it now. I think I have a better understanding of what slowing down for this is now than I would
That's
have
nice.
then. I
Right.
think I have a better understanding of my own feelings and emotions and triggers and how I react to things and how I need to be present for her, like to help her learn how to regulate herself because she doesn't like her brain is still making, right? Like she doesn't know. I don't think I would have been capable of doing it the way I'm doing it now. I would have figured it out. I think we all figure it out, but I don't know if I would have been as confident in it as someone that's not confident in anything she's doing. Um but I'm much more sure of how I'm approaching it now. I'm also sure now that like when she does come to me when she's older and she's like, you really messed that up, that I'd be able to like receive that instead of just being defensive of that.
What's the hardest part of being a mom in your 40s?
That she's gonna be so young when I die, probably. Like,
Don't make
I
me
know it's so
cry.
messed up. I know it's like so far away, but
That's where
that,
your mind goes. Oh,
yeah,
yeah, that's
yeah. But
oh.
I mean, my back hurts too, if you want like an easier answer. But she's heavy and wants to be carried everywhere, and my back hurts.
No,
But
I love your original answer. It's so raw and so unexpected, but of course that's your answer, right? Is there any part of you, and this is a tough question, and feel free to be angry at me for asking it. Is there any part of you that regrets not doing this earlier?
I think sometimes I like, and it's not like I wanted to do it so much earlier. I think there's a part of me that's like, ugh, it sucks that I had a miscarriage and
Oh,
that it took so much longer to get pregnant again. Like, because that would have been 2 years. Like, she'd be four now, sort of thing, or they would be.
yeah,
Um,
right. I'm sorry you had a
right?
miscarriage. That's really brutal.
Yeah, it wasn't a fun experience. 0 out of 10, do not recommend.
Yeah.
Um, but right, like so it's not like I wish I was 30 and had been able to come to this conclusion because I still like I look back and I do not think it would have been a good choice for me then. Like I don't think it would have been a good choice for our family then, sort of thing.
Wise of you.
Yeah, so no, I don't regret not having done this earlier. I think it happened when it happened and it was appropriate. Would it have been nice to have an extra couple years on this? Yeah. But
Has anybody been judgmental or shitty towards you for having a kid in your 40s?
no one I would associate with anymore. No. No, nobody. I don't think.
No offhand, offsides comments, nothing.
No, that's also one of the things that I'm like, a lot of the younger moms that I've been around have gotten a lot more helpful comments from strangers in like public than I have. And I don't know if like, cause I'm like, hope, like, I don't know. Maybe they're like, that lady's old. Like, just leave her alone. Maybe that's it. I don't know. But also, like in like discussions and stuff like that, I'm like there had been moments where like strange people wanted to try and touch my baby. Gross. Don't why you don't know them. Don't touch them. They're a person.
Hmm.
Um but whereas they felt uncomfortable saying something, there was no part of me that had any problem being like, "No, thank you." Like moving a hand away, "No, thank you," sort of thing, whereas they were just like, "And I didn't know what to do," sort of thing. So again, I'm like, I don't know if that's age, I don't know if that's personalities, I don't know what
Maybe a
that
bit of
is.
both. Because there's definitely things when I look back in my 20s, I'm like, why did I put up with that? Or why didn't I say something about this? And I was, again, like well supported human. And I say again because remember you were talking about being well supported by when you had your daughter. And anyway, just I remember things in my 20s and I'm like, gosh, I was set up to be so confident and so self-assured, and yet offside things had happened and I was like, and then, now I tell my mom, she's like, why didn't you tell me? I'm like, I don't know. I didn't tell you about that professor. Odd. Anyway,
Patriarchy, just to bring it back around.
yeah, it was like,
Yeah.
yeah.
But
Um,
yeah, so I think like that I'm like, again, I feel like that's a benefit of being a little bit older,
yeah, for
is
sure.
that maybe I'm more sure of myself. Maybe I'm also just like less F's to give
Yeah.
when it comes to that. So
A lot of my friends had kids actually in their 40s. Like a lot of my closest friends who are mothers, not all of them, but actually the majority had them later, not necessarily in their 40s, but late 30s into 40s. And so I'm just I'm used to hearing about this, I don't know if we say sandwich generation, and I can't relate because again, like I have my dad passed away, I still have my mom, I still have my in-laws. Luckily, knock on wood, everyone's doing well. So none of them need caretaking from me or my partner or my siblings. But I do have friends who have young kids and parents that need help, physically, mentally help. And so I see how flipping hard that is, and that the person cannot ever feel like they're doing enough for either parents, themselves, or the kid. And I feel so empathetic, compassionate, and absolutely useless to them. Do you have any feelings there about that idea of a
I mean,
sandwich generation?
fortunately, I'm not in that yet. I like also, I mean, we have interesting family dynamics. I like that my in-laws are like very healthy, able-bodied, wonderful people. They're also in Hamilton. Like they're not, we don't have any family in Ottawa. My dad is turning 80 this month and he's in Alberta. So like I know it's going to eventually happen at some level, but I don't know how it'll be for us. I'm also not like an only child. I have three sisters and a brother. My husband has two other brothers. Like there's three of them in that family. So if and when something like that needs to happen, sort of thing, none of us would be like, we wouldn't be doing it by ourselves.
Right. What most surprises you about being a mom?
Ugh. I mean, like it depends. It like if you ask me what surprised me most about becoming a mother, like right away, it would have been that like I didn't have that overwhelming love rush over your body and then like the guilt associated with that. That would have been the most surprising thing. If you asked me at like a year, it would have been that like everyone kept saying it was going to get easier and it never felt like it was going to get easier. I think now it is not easy. I need to preface what I'm about to say. It's not easy, but I think the most surprising thing is that it's easy, if that makes any sense. Like, there's certain things that you're just like, oh man, like, for me at least, that it looked so hard, but those things aren't hard. I don't know if I'm explaining
Oh, that's
myself
really
properly,
beautiful.
but it's just like maybe from like the examples or like memories of sort of thing, I'm like, all of that looks just so hard and so awful and so miserable. And it's not. I think that's like the biggest shock.
So what's your identity now?
Ugh, rude question.
Rude.
Um, I think I am still able to call myself a nutritionist. I
And I
think
hope
I'm
so. You worked flipping hard. You have a beautiful business. Oh my gosh. Okay. I'll let you speak.
uh I'm just also a mom now. So it's weird. It's like a new weird set of expectations that we put on ourselves. And we all put different expectations on ourselves of how we want to show up for our children and our partners. And then, like, somewhere at the bottom, ourselves, right? Like, but it's just like it's a a reorg of what your personality is, I guess. Like I'm still me, I'm still weird, I'm still, I think, funny. Like I'm still a great friend. I am just also now this extra thing. If yeah, I think that's where I'm getting to thing. It is a really I don't know. I'm like, I always thought it was because I'm type A, and I'm like, nobody tells you how hard it is because you're type A and you can't plan anything anymore. And all of the things that you do plan, none of it works out the way you plan it or try to envision it. Like, and so as someone that is type A, that was a really hard thing and continues to be at some level to get used to, like actually learn how to go with the flow. I'm that person that's like, I can go with the flow if I know who's going to be there, what time it starts at, what the parking situation is. I'm that type of go with the flow person. But yeah, it's figuring out how to be more open to a shift and to be more open to accommodating somebody else's needs along with your own. It's the along with your own that has been a really hard thing for me to figure out, right? Like you don't need to not be you anymore just because you're a mom. So I hesitate to be like, I'm a mom now. That's not who I am. It's a part of who I am. But also coming to the understanding that I'm also not just a nutritionist anymore.
Right.
Or
My
maybe
mom has
never
a
will.
really beautiful way of talking about being a parent. Because actually, bringing it back to the Enneagram, I was doing the Enneagram typing interview with her because I was curious and I was practicing this in the fall, and she was gave me the gift of using her to practice on. And anyway, all that to say, I was asking her questions about who she is and how she responds to things and how she's handled things and how she looks at different parts of life. And I was saying to her, Mom, with the Enneagram, don't just think of yourself today as you are, and don't just think of yourself, as a young mother, or like try to think of in your answer, try to think of your whole life, but also be brief because like go with your gut. So it's a big ask. I get it. And she was like, this is really difficult because when you have kids, it really does shift your answers. She was like, how I would have answered this before is so different now. And like, and she was like, I've always been me. So I'm going to answer to the best of my ability of like deep down, like my instinctual like answer. But she was like, kids they almost like consume you in a really beautiful way for a short period of time. And she was like, just let me so I'll just pass Lorraine through my body to you, Brittany. It's like this short time where maybe that label of mom is a bit more domineering, but it's also okay because it's not always going to be. And other pieces of you always fit in there. Like I always saw, like I had a really beautiful example of a mom, and I always saw her fit different things in, but definitely not to the extent where she's able to now. Like now I see her go to dance class and take voice lessons and be her silly self with her girlfriends. And for sure, I ate a lot of that time away from her as her daughter, as did my sister and my brother. But those pieces of you, it's like if I think of like a puzzle, and sometimes you have these big pieces, and sometimes you have these little pieces, but like they're not always going to stay that exact same piece. Just
I think that is what I'm learning, right?
yeah,
I
right.
think there's like in the first year postpartum, it was like the big shock was that like who I didn't know who I was anymore. Like I'm just a mom. I was also like she never latched like so we didn't breastfeed, but I pumped. So I exclusively bottle fed through pumping. But so I was like, so I'm a food machine is who I am, right? Like I just like at I don't think at any point in the first year I felt like Brittany. And so it wasn't until recently that I started being like, it is a shift. Like, it's just like, I'm sure she's going to turn 3 and I'm going to feel like a different divide of who I am thing. So the first year I was like a milk machine and a mom. And then I got to do like my job every once in a while sort of thing. And then as she moves into her second year, I'm not a milk machine anymore, thank God. 0 to 10. Do not recommend the pumping experience. Uh, but so like as like we moved past that, I started to feel like her mom and myself again. So like the further you move away from pregnancy and labor, the more and more you start to feel like you again, whatever that pie diagram looks like. If that makes any sense. I don't know.
Yeah. Does. It really does. I didn't ask you this, and probably it's going backwards, but I'm curious. Pregnancy in an older body, and again, it seems so weird to say older body because my gosh, it was only 39. That's a young, delightful body. But pregnancy as 30 in a 39-year-old body versus 19, 20, like 21, when like I don't know about your parents, but my parents had kids. Um, how did it feel? Was it I mean, I guess that's such a hard question to answer because you weren't pregnant at 19, 20, 21, that I know of. Different
No.
podcast. But
Yes.
I imagine it's so hard on a body because I know like body wise, I can feel my body changing for sure. And like how it's different, like different types of the way I move my body changes as I get older. Different foods feel different as I get older. Sleep affects it more. There's so many things. Is there anything to share about that?
I Everyone's gonna hate me for this, but I liked being pregnant. There
Oh,
was like a shift in my pregnancy that I was like, this is honestly the best I've ever felt about my body. I'm like, I wore my first contour dress, would to this day never do again. But like, I had a ton of body confidence because I was like, this belly is a baby.
nice.
I'm like, I'm gonna eat. I'm gonna move the way I move. That feels good. I felt good. I say that if my husband was in the room, he'd be like, "No, you didn't."
That
He would be he would, I think, disagree. It physically didn't feel awesome. There is like I have like back issues as I think a lot of like older people do, but I have like a degenerative thing in my spine. That shockingly didn't hurt, but everything else did. I had like carpal tunnel in both of my hands. I oh my God, like pelvic discomfort, like a ton of things, but they are also all things that someone that is 19 can experience.
right, right.
I
It's
think,
hard to
yeah, it's hard
compare
to,
without having both experiences in the body. Yeah,
yeah,
fair. How is Brittany today?
she is doing good. I think she's doing pretty good. Yeah, like I'm finding somewhat of a flow. Am I showing up in my professional capacity at the same level that like my type A brain wants me showing up? Not even close. But am I getting more comfortable with the fact that I've made room to show up for my child in a capacity that feels good to me? Yeah. So it's like getting comfortable with knowing that like that entrepreneur life, that like my clinic, my practice, like that is going to be there. I will make that happen when I have more time and she needs me a bit less, sort of thing. So I'm good.
Is there
Yeah.
anything about mothering, having a baby in your 40s, being pregnant, friends, family, anything about this whole experience that you'd like to share with anybody in a similar situation?
I mean, I think I'm not sure. Like it's going to be so different for everybody else. I wish maybe like future Brittany could have come back and talked to past Brittany to be like, get ready to dig in. Like you're figuring it out. Like your family is figuring it out. The three of you is figuring it out. It's just the three of you, sort of thing, to give us like me more of a heads up on that. Community is so important. Nobody raises kids fully on their own, but being solid in who you are and who your family is or what your family is helpful mindset. I don't.
Yeah, and I imagine 60-year-old Brittany and 70-year-old Brittany would come back and say the same, right? Like dig in for year 3, dig in for year 5. I think that's advice that can continue on for the rest of both of our lives. kids or no kids, right? Some years are about digging in and just like head down, trudging through. And then some years are just going to be a bit boring because like nothing's really hard, nothing's really easy. And then some years are going to be like delightful because like big things are going to be happening, her for school, all those things, you know? I think it's,
For school.
yeah, I think that's a really great reminder for everybody. Just, it's all going to be okay.
Yeah. There are going to be times where it will never feel okay again, and then it will be okay again.
Yeah. And like, it'd be so nice if we could give each other like a heads up. Hey, listen, hard time, but by May 1st, it's going to be so easy. And then you're like, okay, it's March, you know, like I can get through, but you just never know when it's going to shift a little, but it always does. It ebbs and flows.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks for
Yeah.
sharing your story.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy I was able to share this story. I just like, I think there's so much out there on motherhood, and I don't think there's a ton out there on the perspective of an older mother like this sort of thing. Whereas like, we don't have a nanny, we don't have like, right? Like it's a different, like it's just a normal, this is what it looks like for a lot of people who are older having kids.
Wait, we were trying to think of what to call this one.
Yeah.
We're like the other side of in the trenches, but given all that's going on in the world, that might be too on the nose. But
Yeah.
it is like in the trenches of motherhood. But anyway, we'll figure it out. But this story is a really beautiful one and a really vulnerable one. And I really appreciate your time. And you're just, oh God, such a lovely human.
Thank you so much for having me.
So much, Brittany. Mwah. Have a beautiful day.
You too.